Real Steel Sports is back, everybody, for this report on February 16th, 2013 in the world of sports with the one, the only, James Michael Krishnaric. Glad to be back here for another great episode. Had fun last night. Can't wait to get started again. Even though it's a little bit of a later broadcast, 12:30, just after 12:30 here. On Sunday, February 17th, I'll be breaking down what happened yesterday in the world of sports. Let's get started, shall we? Kind of a sad note on the ATP World Tour because we're losing one of the fan and player favorites amongst tournaments. This is the last running of the SAP Open in San Jose. All the great players who played there and won. Like Agassi's played there, Sampras, even Roddick. And it's no longer going to be there anymore. We've already lost the LA tournament. I don't know what's going to come out of this, but it's just depressing. It really is. We've had some great matches of the last few years. But in the last time this tournament will be held, both Americans, ironically enough, both fell. Sam Querrey falling to Canadian Milos Raonic 6-4, 6-2, and John Isner falling to Tommy Haas 6-3, 6-4. Haas is looking to win his first title in almost half a year. Meanwhile, from Rotterdam, the dream week of Frenchman Julien Benneteau continues after defeating world number 2 Roger Federer yesterday, or I should say Friday now. He defeated fellow Frenchman Gilles Simon 6-4, 7-6. Benneteau is seeking his first career ATP title. Meanwhile, Juan Martín del Potro, the Argentine, runs right through Grigor Dimitrov 6-4, 6-4 as he advances to his first final of the season. And down in Brazil, now David Nalbandian. You talk about a guy who's been around for forever. I mean, the Argentine is just so steady. Just rock solid steady. Beats Italian Simone Bolelli 6-3, 7-5. Nalbandian has not made it a World Tour final since early in the June 2012, whenever he made the final in Queens before falling to Marin Cilic. He is looking for his 12th career title and first since 2010. Meanwhile, the comeback of Rafael Nadal continues to look even less impressive. After falling in the finals of the tournament Vina del Mar to an unknown Argentine, Zeballos, he turns around and beats another Argentine, Martin Alund, 6-3, 6-7, 6-1. I was the one who said Rafa Nadal, coming back off an injury that bad, he would not be at his really himself, even on clay, for a while. I mean, I'm picking Djokovic to win the French Open for a reason. Because if Nadal's having trouble against these guys, even on clay, can you imagine what's going to happen when he plays against Djokovic and even Federer? I'll tell you what, if there's any year that Federer can beat Nadal in a best-of-5 set match on clay, this is the year. Djokovic, same thing. Nadal's trying, obviously, for his 51st career singles title Sunday and first since winning the French Open in June. He will play against David Nalbandian, and let me tell you something. These two have some very, very good matches against each other. They have historically played some tight ones. I remember the one in Indian Wells a couple years back. Actually, it was just last year. When Nadal wasn't playing well, Nalbandian was on the comeback tour, on this comeback, and Nadal was very close to losing, came back, and ended up winning that 6-4 in the third. And they've had some very, very good matches. Nalbandian won the first two, Nadal's won the last four. Nalbandian gives Nadal a lot of trouble because he's so consistent and steady from the baseline that Nadal's topspin shots really don't affect him as much as they would another player. His two-handed backhand is just so smooth and so steady that it's almost hard to break it down. It's hard to break it down. I look for Nalbandian to beat Nadal in the Mars final. I said I think Nalbandian's going to upset him. He's playing well. Nadal's clearly pretty shaky. I know Nalbandian's ranking is pretty low, 93rd in the world, but if Nalbandian's playing well, he can beat anybody in the top 20. Hell, he's beaten Federer several times when he was ranked well below Federer. In the other finals, I like Benito to fall to Del Potro. I don't think Benito's going to win his first title this week. He'll win a career title, just not this one. And you got Query and Isner falling to Haas and Raonic. Give me Milos Raonic to claim another title. I look for the big serve of him to really overpower the Haas return. Don't really talk a lot of soccer on here, but tonight we have a milestone reached. In the world of soccer, particularly from one guy from Barcelona who's gone down as one of the greatest players to ever play the game of soccer. And that'd be Lionel Messi. Messi for Barcelona netted his 300 and 301st career goals. And his record scoring run of 14 Spanish League games continues. As Barcelona wins 2-1 at Granada on Saturday. This is his record 17th multi-goal game of the season, and his league-leading goal tally is 37. He's played just unbelievable this year. Meanwhile, another soccer player in the news, David Beckham will have to wait at least another week before making his debut for Paris Saint-Germain after coach Ancelotti ruled him out of Sunday's match against Sochaux, or however you say it. And another surprise, pro soccer player for the U.S. national team in Major League Soccer, Robbie Rogers, has decided to come out and say he is openly gay and could not be happier with his decision. It was linked from his Twitter account Friday that Robbie is retiring. And he said he's very, very happy with the decision to make that statement. But of course, it's Saturday. Or should I say yesterday was. What does Saturday bring, everybody? Some damn good college basketball. We had some good games. We had a few blowouts. You know, number 1 seed Indiana, number 7 seed Florida pounded conference rivals Purdue and Auburn respectively. Indiana 83-55 and Florida 83-52. Florida scored 15 three-pointers. And Sheehy for Indiana scored 22 points and put up 3 rebounds and 2 assists. But you had some close ones too. Number 2 Duke and unranked Maryland. Since Kelly went out with that injury for Duke, they have just been such an average team. If he was still in the lineup, they'd probably be number 1 team in the nation by far. Maryland took advantage, got off to a big lead, and held on at the end, outscoring Duke by 1 point in both the first and second half to win 83-81. 11th ranked Butler taking down Fordham University 68-63. You have Kansas State blowing out Baylor 81-61. Pitt falling to Marquette, sad day there, 69-79. Kansas pounding Texas 73-47. A couple other close games to result. Oregon, the 23rd ranked Ducks, beating Washington State 79-73. And 24th ranked Colorado State beats Air Force 89-86. With Duke's loss, it's really kind of shaking up the foundation for who's going to be the number 1 seeds. And there's so many other teams out there that are making a play for it now. Syracuse, Florida, you name it. If I had to put down my number 4 seeds, you got to look at Indiana as one of them because they've been the number 1 team for most of this year. They've been such a consistent team. They really have been. From top to bottom all year long. I mean, with whether it's Zeller or whether it's, the way that team's just been held together. They've had a couple losses, but they've really been able to hold together. They're ranked number 1 in the AP Top 25, and I think they'll definitely get one of the top seeds. But the team to watch out for is Miami. They're having one of the best seasons in school history. I mean, the way that they've been playing as a team this year, 20-3 and undefeated, 11-0 in the ACC, and let's not forget how badly they beat Duke in November. Not November, January, my bad. I was looking at the schedule wrong. They beat Duke 90-63, some other big games. They beat NC State. They've had a really, really good season. And if you look at their RPI, whenever everybody's healthy, they're the best team in the nation. If I don't sound right tonight, I'm sorry. I'm coming out with a little bit of a cold. One thing gotta love about winter in this area, you're always bound to get sick. But if I had to look for my other top seeds, I've got Indiana, Miami. I know Florida's been, up and down this year, but they've been consistent enough in the fact that Duke has Kelly out for a while. I think they've earned a number one seed. And I got to give the other shot at number one seed to Gonzaga. Because they're 25-2 and 12-0 in their conference. And even though they've kind of struggled in a couple of games, they've played well when it matters. And all they got to do is win out, and they're more likely going to get one. So I think that they're definitely in lock to get number one seed. The NBA, the three-point contest and the slam dunk contest today were both held as part of the All-Star festivities. Cleveland Cavaliers, Kyrie Irving took the three-point contest. He started 7 for 7 in the final round, finished with 23 points. And San Antonio's Matt Bonner finished with 20 points in the final round. He was unable to defeat Kyrie Irving. In the slam dunk contest, Toronto Raptors' Terrence Ross took home the title, beating defending champion Jeremy Evans. The 6'6" Ross, he jumped over a ball boy, threw down a one-handed slam, and whipped the ball between his legs. And earlier in one of his dunks, he donned a Vince Carter jersey. Vince Carter in 2000 for the Toronto Raptors had maybe the greatest slam dunk performance of all time. Just absolutely dominated the field that year. He earned 58% of the fan vote in the championship round, and was definitely a deserving champion of the slam dunk contest. But the big news in basketball this week, and today is that day. Happy 50th birthday to the greatest player and athlete of all time. The one, the only, Michael Jordan. Happy 50th, MJ. It's funny because Magic Johnson himself has declared that MJ is the greatest player in basketball history. You can't really go against it. You can't. The fact that he was drafted by a lowly Bulls team in the mid-'80s. By the late 80s, they were contending. By the early 90s, they were a champion. And by the late 90s, they were one of the greatest teams of all time. I know they had other good players in the team, like Hall of Famer Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman. Those guys don't win rings without Jordan, and they know that. Because Jordan raised the level of everybody else that was on that damn team. He made Phil Jackson's offense work. 10 scoring titles, 9 times NBA All-First Team defense. That's sick. I mean, you can say whatever you want about comparing guys like Kobe and Magic and LeBron to Michael Jordan. 9 times first-team All-Defense. That just speaks volume for itself if his 6 rings don't say enough already. Kobe can go ahead and win 7. Kobe can go ahead and win 8. He's not going to win 8, but he can go ahead and do it. And I still will never put Kobe above Michael Jordan. 2 reasons. 1, Michael Jordan was the absolute complete basketball player. Assists, rebounds, dunking, shooting, defense, passing, you name it. Could do it all. Free throws. Hell, he made a free throw with his eyes closed. Enough said. Kobe, for all his greatness,
took their highest ranking in program history.
Sorry about that. Kobe, great player, but not very much a passing guy. More or less just a guy that I'm just going to score and that's going to be it. Michael Jordan, a lot more selfless as a player. Knew that he had to get his other players involved to help him win. Kobe can go ahead and win 3 more rings. Michael Michael Jordan is still a hell of a lot better than he'll ever be. Of course, we also got some action around the NHL. The Edmonton Oilers just defeated the Colorado Avalanche 6-4. The Tampa Bay Lightning came back and won in overtime to defeat the Florida Panthers 6-5. As Benoit Pouliot scores 2 goals, including the game winner, and last year's leading goal scorer Steven Stamkos also nets 2 as the Lightning stay in 9th place. They are battling the Carolina Hurricanes for the number 3 spot in the Eastern Conference in the Southeastern Division. Maple Leafs blank the Senators 3-0 as goalie Ben Scrivens stops all 34 shots he faces. The Montreal Canadiens rout the Philadelphia Flyers 4-1, which is something that I could go ahead and read every day and still be so happy to read, because my hatred for the Philadelphia Flyers is endless. Gallagher, Deschanel, and Pelechnik all score, and Peter Budaj stops 18 of 19 shots. Another thing I really like to see is the Devils lose, particularly when they're ranked ahead of the Penguins in the Eastern Conference. Islanders beat them 4-1. John Tavares nails a hat trick, and Evgeny Nabokov makes 30 saves. The Ducks in Anaheim, they kept rolling, beating Nashville 3-2 in a shootout. Victor Fash stops 32 shots. The final game of the day, Phoenix defeating Columbus as Martin Hanzal nets 2 goals, and Mike Smith, who was a runner-up for the Vezina Trophy last year, saves 17 of 20 shots. Vezina Trophy, my bad. Right now, the standings in the NHL, conference-wise, here's how they read from bottom to top in the East. 8th is the Rangers at 15 points. 7th is Ottawa with 16. 6th is Toronto with 18. 5th is Boston with 18, as they've been replaced at 2nd by the Canadiens. Pittsburgh Penguins at 20 points are 4th. Carolina has 17, they're in 3rd. Montreal is 2nd with 19. New Jersey's 1st with 21. In the West, you got Detroit at 16. And then Dallas, San Jose, and St. Louis from 7 to 5 all have 17. Nashville is 19. Vancouver maintains a lead in the Pacific Division with 18 points. Actually, with the Northwest Division, my bad. Anaheim has 23, and Chicago has still yet to lose in regulation 25 points. Unbelievable. I want to talk a little bit more about Michael Jordan, personally, because I was born in 1992, so I really didn't get a chance to watch him play. But when they've showed some of his games on, whether it be ESPN Classic, whether it be NBA Network, I've sat down and gotten a chance to watch him. There really was nobody out there who could stop him. I can honestly say I saw one game with Michael Jordan where he was honestly so bottled up he didn't matter in a game. There have been games where I've seen LeBron disappear. I've seen Kobe disappear. Look at other great players. Kevin Durant. I've seen him disappear in games. I never ever saw once in a game Michael Jordan disappear or give up. The man's competitive instinct and the desire to win are what separates him from everybody else. You look at other great competitors in all sports, whether it be in hockey, you got guys like Gretzky and Lemieux. Whether it be in tennis, you got guys like Leighton Hewitt and Rafael Nadal, or Bjorn Borg. And you look at some other athletes in other sports, whether it be in the NFL, you have Tom Brady and John Unitas and Joe Montana. Nobody out there that I've ever seen has the competitive fire and the ability to do everything to the point where you can't stop him like Michael Jordan. Let's not forget, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, who was the first-round pick by the Charlotte Bobcats this year out of Kentucky, 19 years old, did a one-on-one game against Michael Jordan, who was 49 at the time. And Michael Jordan kicked his ass. What does that tell you? Jordan is a step above everybody and always will. I believe truly that right now he could still play. I believe Jerry Rice could still play football, but he would be an average receiver. Michael Jordan could play, and I believe in my heart that if Michael Jordan came out of retirement today and played a game, he would put up 20 points, easy. Because you just can't account for him. You can't. He was just that damn good at everything he did on a basketball court. He helped take the game global. NBA and basketball in general was not a worldwide sport before MJ came into the league. With, success of the Dream Team in 1992, going overseas and playing around the world. Basketball became a global sport because of him. He was so marketable, whether it be Gatorade, whether it be Nike. I mean, the guy's not so much just a basketball player, but he's also a pop culture icon. The only flaw, though, is how Charlotte Bobcats performed since he took over as owner and general manager. But I seriously do believe, and I tweeted this today at Mike Golick and Mike Greeny on Twitter, that if Michael Jordan came out of retirement and started for the Charlotte Bobcats and they restarted the season, Charlotte would make the playoffs. They would. Because all those players would look at him. It would not so much be on the field, but off the field, off the court thing. Because they'd be like, holy shit, this guy works his ass off to play. Why can't we? What's keeping us from doing that? I mean, I personally think that NBA players are soft compared to the old days. I mean, MJ was truly the last great champion in terms of his work ethic, his desire, his competitive nature. You don't see that in the NBA anymore. You don't see players like that. Kobe, you get it a little bit, but there are still times where he's kind of iffy. There was never ever a game I can honestly say where Michael Jordan ever gave up. Ever. You look at the flu game in the NBA Finals the one time, where he put up 40 when he was barely able to walk. That just goes to show you the drive of a champion. The drive to be the best he can be. And me being a big tennis fan, I'm a huge tennis fan. As a player, as an analyst, as, a fan, you name it. And I've gotten a chance to see Roger Federer play in his prime. Pretty much every single big match he's been in. And I've got to see him dominate the tour for how many years. There's only one other athlete that compares to what Roger Federer did, and that's Michael Jordan. I mean, I would have to probably, by the slimmest of margins, put MJ above Federer, because of the fact that MJ in his 50s still kicks ass, and even whenever, let's put it this way, Michael Jordan for about 8 or 9 years, he was not the MVP of the league more than 3 times. But for 8 or 9 years, he was still the dominant player in basketball. It's not a time all defensive selections, first team all defensive selections speak enough for what he's done. Federer had 6 really damn good years. And the rest of them, they were very, very good too. But Michael was dominant for 9 or 10 straight years. He was more athletic than we'd ever seen anybody be. He was smarter. He was so shifty. You never saw him out of position. I would go down and say right now that Michael Jordan's the greatest athlete to have ever lived. And it'd be a tough call between him and guys like Jim Brown and Jerry Rice and Roger Federer. But 6 NBA titles, 9 times all defensive, 10 scoring titles. That resume speaks volume for himself. Anyways, happy birthday to our friend, Mr. Michael Jordan. Hope you enjoy it. Hope to see you back on the court soon, maybe. But, enjoy everything. This is James Krishnarik at Real Steel Sports signing off. Hope you enjoyed it. See you guys later.